Hello everyone, my name is Lorthorn and welcome to Witchery Rewitched by Hero31. This is a 1.16.5 remake of the Witchery mod all the way back in the day, and is not Bewitchment. This mod is worked on by one person, hasn't been updated in a while, but I still thought it'd be interesting to check out, and I am rather obsessed with all mods, Witchery related, remake, or recreate, or rewrite. This mod has some interesting looking parts to it, and we'll get into how to get started here. Like many of the Witchery mods, first thing you want to do is collect seeds from the grass. Break a whole bunch of different grass, collect all the different seeds. Snowbell seeds, water artichoke seeds, mandrake seeds, wolfsbane seeds, and belladonna seeds. Most of them can be planted in soil, but the water artichoke seeds need to be planted in water. Then they can be harvested by breaking the plant if you're in non-creative mode. So once you've collected both water artichoke bulb and belladonna flower, one black dye and a feather, you can combine that all with a book to get the lexicon of witchery, to get the lexicon of witching. The lexicon of witching holds all the information and none of it is locked behind achievement. Although I find this book rather hard to navigate. So we will go through my own preferred navigation, which I've figured out throughout the course of creating this tutorial. So after you've made the book and it gives you some of the information, the next thing you want to create for the Rewitchery mod is the Witch's Oven, a classic to this type of mod, requiring iron ingots and iron bars, and inside you have a whole bunch of spaces. These spaces are filled with various different things. One of these things being the clay pots. Create the uncooked clay pot using clay balls, then cook it in any furnace to get the clay pots. Then you put the clay pots in the bottom half, and you put whatever ingredients you want to cook in the top half, and it'll give you the results. So if we take potato, we can put it in the witch's oven, and it'll cook it like a normal potato, and there's a chance that'll also give us foul fumes. It is not 100% though, so you'll have to cook multiple potatoes in your witch's oven to guarantee getting the foul fumes. A whole bunch of different fumes can be gotten through various different sapling types being burnt. Birch saplings will give us breath of the goddess. Oak saplings will give us exhale of the horned one. Spruce saplings gives a hint of rebirth. Also, burning all these saplings gives us the byproduct of wood ash. Wood ash can be used in a crafting table to create quicklime, one of the ingredients along with wood ash that we'll be using in other parts of the mod. After we have our fumes, we go ahead and make it the Arathane. Hey, it's not called the Anthem! I can actually pronounce this one. Arathana. Arathana? Maybe not. Anyways, the Arathane, is made with emerald gold nuggets in a stick in a sort of dagger-like form, and you get the ritual slicey dicey dagger. Currently, this dagger's only real use is killing bats, which will give you bat wool. After we have the dagger, we go ahead and make the anointing paste and a cauldron. The anointing paste is made with mandrake seed, water artichoke seeds, belladonna seeds, and snowbell seeds. You combine it all together, you get the anointing paste. Then you create a cauldron, put the cauldron down, take the anointing paste, and put it on the cauldron, and it'll turn it into a witch's cauldron. Witch's cauldrons require a heat source underneath them, and it must be fire. The campfire and the block of lava or the block of magma don't seem to do anything. You also need to fill the witch's cauldron full of water for it to work. After you have your witch's cauldron, you want to make the first useful divergent item in this mod, which will require exhale of the horned one, mandrake root, and an egg. You toss them into the cauldron, and it will suck them up. Then, after it turns pink, it will produce mutandis for you. Mutandis can be applied to plants on the ground to randomly mutate them into other plants. Some of these plants will be witchery plants, while others will just turn them into the normal plants. Your goal is to mutate a plant into a rowan sapling and then have that rowan sapling grow. Rowan saplings' logs are useful, but also their leaves provide rowan berries, which can be eaten for food. Harvest some rowan logs, then use those logs to create the altar table. 2 rowan wood logs in the center, stone bricks to the sides, exhale of the horned one, breath of the goddess, and a water bottle. You'll need to do this twice as you only get 3 altar blocks per creation. Once you have 6 altar blocks, you lay them all out in a 2x3, and it will complete the altar by putting red carpet on the top and giving a little gem to the side. Altar's power is based on the amount of plants nearby. The scan radius appears to be a little bit smaller than Bewitchment, but has a fairly good radius and it ticks up pretty fast as long as you have daylight cycle still running. You can additionally accelerate and increase the power output of an altar by putting a torch on it, the ritual dagger, and a wither skull. This will all greatly increase its power and multiply how fast it charges up. Having Spanish moss growing on it also greatly increases the potential power, as well as numerous trees, especially this additional trees you can create. There are 3 kinds of additional trees you can create. We already know of one of them, which is the rowan sapling from the mod, but there's also Hawthorn sapling and alder sapling. Each one of these also has their own respective fumes that can be created through the witch's oven. Alder gives you reek of misfortune, Hawthorn gives you odor of purity, and rowanwood gives you a whiff of magic. You use the altar to power most rituals and spells and cauldron things within this mod, so it is best to have it in a centralized location and then have all your other witchery objects around it. Once we have the altar, we can go ahead and make the attunement stone. The attunement stone requires a diamond, a bucket of lava, and a whiff of magic all put together to craft. Then we take this attunement stone, not giving it a second to live, and we turn it into our distillery. The distillery recovers clay pots on the top, a whole bunch of iron around that, 2 gold ingots, and the tombstone. Then we have to take the distillery, and we need to put it by our altar. While the distillery does not require altar power, it does require an altar to be nearby. And then we can distill a whole bunch of different things to get a whole bunch of different things. The first distillery is lapis lazuli and breath of the goddess. We can put these both together, one on top of the other, while making sure there's clay pots in the bottom, and this will give us whiff of magic, foul fumes, tear of the goddess, and a slime ball. So a lot of bang for your buck. Another one of the distillery recipes requires foul fumes and quicklime to create gypsum, slime ball, and oil of vitriol. We can take the oil of vitriol. We can take the oil of vitriol, combine it with a diamond in the distillery, and that will give us 2 diamond vapors and 1 odor of purity. Ender pearls can be distilled to create 5 ender dew and 1 whiff of magic. And finally, in the distillery, if we combine diamond vapor and a gas tier, we get refined evil, reek of misfortune, foul fume, and odor of purity. If we want to convert certain blocks, we can combine mutandis with netherwort in a cauldron with a little bit of altar power to create mutandis extremis. And mutandis extremis will convert blocks instead of just plants. Plants it will convert as well, but it can turn blocks into mycelia and underwater dirt into clay. Good way to get yourself some clay is with mutandis extremis. Another thing we can create within the cauldron, now that we have altar power running to it, is a drop of luck. This requires mandrake root, netherwort, tear of the goddess, refined evil, and mutandis extremis. If you throw all of this together into a cauldron, which has a source of power nearby, you'll get yourself a drop of luck. Then, as I said, you can kill bats for bat wool, and there's a few extra plants that you can get out of combining mutandis with the other plants. One of those plants being glintweed. Now, glintweed is a plant that emits light at night. It also has a property, which is it spreads like wild. Given that I planted about 5 of these originally, you can see the results of it being absolutely everywhere. The other plant that you can get is called ember moss, which we've seen before. And ember moss has the property that if anyone steps into it, they catch fire. Collecting both of these is useful for what's coming next. One of the next steps we want to do is we want to take flint and a bone to create a bone needle. Then we take that bone needle and Spanish moss, which we got through mutating plants, next to other plants, combine it with wool, the needle, and some string, and we'll get a poppet. Poppets by themselves are useless, however they can be combined with various other ingredients to create amazing items. If we combine bat's wool and ember moss with a poppet, we can create a poppet of fire protection. If we combine ink sacs with water artichokes bulbs, we get ourselves a water protection poppet. Feathers, clay, and dirt gives us the Earth Protection Poppet. Glycerine melons and rotten flesh gives us the Hunger Protection Poppet. And perhaps the most powerful of all, a drop of luck, diamond vapor, and gold ingots surrounding a poppet gives us a Poppet of Death Protection. 2 additional poppets that can be created are one requiring a drop of luck, a reek of misfortune, and diamond vapor to make the Poppet of Armor Protection. A very, very expensive poppet for what you get out of it. And then the final poppet is the Poppet of Tool Protection, used making reeks of misfortune and drops of luck. Each one of these poppets protects you from a various different nastiness. But to protect you, it requires to be tag locked to you. The tag lock is created through a glass bottle and a bone needle combined together. Then you shift right click on a bed that you have slept in, and you get a filled tag lock of your name. Then you take the filled tag lock and put in your offhand, take whichever poppet you want to combine with it, and then right click with it, and it will then bind them to you. Each poppet has its own protection that it will provide for you. The Armor Protection Poppet stops armor from breaking on your body and fully repairs it before winking out of existence. And the Tool Protection Poppet does this, but with tools. When a tool is about to break, instead the poppet breaks and it completely refines the tool back into existence. The Water Protection Poppet stops you from drowning. As long as you have it in your inventory somewhere, if you are to drown, this poppet will bring you back to life and also give you water breathing for a short duration. Then you'll go back to drowning while you're underwater. Of course, this breaks the poppet. As always, the protection will break the poppet. The Earth Protection Poppet stops you from dying of fall damage, and the Fire Protection Poppet will stop you from burning to death. Also, after it breaks, it gives you fire resistance for a short while. The Hunger Protection Poppet stops you from dying of hunger. Of course, your game mode has to be in a state where hunger can kill you. Also, once it stops your death from hunger, it will also refill some of your saturation. And finally, the Death Protection Poppet stops you from dying from any sort of death, which is rather evidenced by its name, and it can be anywhere in your inventory as well, so you don't need to hold in your offhand. And in fact, you don't even have to have these items on your person, if you happen to have them on a poppet shelf. The poppet shelf can hold up to 4 poppets in it, and it will trigger them as if you're in their inventory. Of course, they are rather expensive, requiring 4 diamonds. Each corner requires 1 attuned stone. Then they also need nether bricks and green wool to make, but then you get yourself a poppet shelf which can store multiple different poppets for your protection, and you can have multiple different poppet shelves out and about to stop your inevitable demise. And the breaking of items in your inventory, which is an added bonus if you are rich enough to make those. After we've made those poppets, we can get on to doing some magic rituals. Well, limited in scope, there's still a few of them to cover. Of course, we need to prepare for them, so we'll take a flint and a bone needle and we'll create a waystone. Then, after we've made the waystone, let's take some wood ash, some gypsum, and Tear of the Goddess to create basic ritual chalk. Basic ritual chalk combined with mandrake root and gold in the Witch's Cauldron will provide us with gold chalk. Basic chalk combined with ender pearl, nether wart, and Tear of the Goddess will make other world chalk. And finally, basic chalk combined with nether wart and blaze powder will make infernal chalk. Getting yourself one of every type of chalk is ideal for doing the rituals. When chalk is used, it expends some of the durability of the chalk, so you'll have to remake it every once in a while. The ritual circles are drawn as they have ever been drawn, with a dot of gold in the middle, then 1, 2, 3 to the side, then you draw a 3 line, a dot off it, a 3 line, a dot off it, a 3 line, a dot off it, and a 3 line. Then you can add the space in and do a 5, 2 dots, a 5, 2 dots, and another line of 5 with 2 dots connecting it. The outer circle will only ever be white because that is the limit of the rituals within this mod, but the inner circles can be all different colors depending on which ritual you wish to do. One of the more basic witch rituals requires just 1 ring of white chalk, the waystone, ender dew, and glowstone dust. Throw these into the center and right click on the circle with an empty hand or a hand with stuff in it, and they will suck up the items and produce a bound waystone. This waystone is now linked to this circle's location. Then, if we happen to have a circle which consists of purple chalk in a ring of 1, we can throw our bound waystone into the circle, right click on the golden chalk in the center, consume that waystone, and be teleported back to the location we were in, thus making an excellent teleportation device. The range of this ritual also appears to be infinite, which is excellent, and it requires no power, as all the power is being provided by the ritual stone. Speaking of ritual stones, we can take a tombstone and charge it so that when we want to do a ritual, we do not have to have altar power nearby if it is one of those rituals that requires altar power, but we want to do it out and about. To charge our tombstone, we are going to need several types of powder. Redstone dust, glowstone dust, quicklime, and wood ash, and a 2x2 of white ritual chalk. We throw those all together into the circle, and we activate the ritual. And we come across one of the weirder bugs, which is once you've done one ritual, it doesn't seem to want to do others, and so we have to break the center ritual and try to convince it to work again. Then it will commence with the ritual and give us the charged stone. This stone can now power our ritual's force. Of course, it requires a lot of power to do in the first place. We go to the rituals, and we go to the ritual of charging. It needs 2,000 power to complete, rather expensive. Another ritual we can do, which requires 3,000 power, rather expensive. This requires a stone axe and quicklime, and one basic circle of white chalk. Then you throw it into a circle, and start the ritual. It will consume both compounds, strike lightning, and turn it to night. Then the final ritual we can complete requires fiery chalk, wood ash, blaze rod, a piece of coal, and a bunch of raw meat. Create one circle of infernal chalk in the central circle. Then throw the wood ash, blaze rod, and coal, and activate the ritual. It will consume these. Then for 10 seconds, all raw meat thrown into the circle will be cooked, for the most part, although some of it will turn to charcoal. And so you can cook your meat really fast, and the price of broiling is 0. So there's literally no point in doing it with a charged ritual. I don't quite understand that. But that is all the magic rituals you can complete in Witchery Rewitched. Finally, with the fume collector, there's one extra small note with that, which is if you want to guarantee a better chance of getting fumes, you can create a fume funnel out of iron blocks, iron bars, buckets, a bucket of lava, and glowstone, and then you can put 1 or 2 of these on top of the witch's oven. A maximum of 2, though, is as much as you can do. You can also upgrade this thing by combining a charged attuned stone with glass and iron ingots into a fume filter, then combine the fume filter with a fume funnel to make a filtered fume funnel, and then you can have this on top of your witch's oven, and this will all guarantee a better chance of getting fumes. And that is all that there is to Witchery Rewitched. One of the more useful things from this mod, although very disastrous to your landscaping, is the glitter weeds, because they'll spread light everywhere. Then the more powerful things are these poppets of protection, which are relatively cheap to make, don't require altar power, can be stored within a poppet shelf, and are very powerful in stopping you from dying, catching fire, starving to death, or having your tools break. The rituals are minorly powerful and somewhat interesting. There could be more, but this mod, as I said, hasn't been worked on much, and it's being worked on by just one guy who in the past year or so hasn't updated it at all. But kudos to him for even trying to make it closer to witchery and not going the path of bewitchment. So that's pretty cool. Someone happened to add a resource pack to change the look of the Witchery Revanced. To the Witchery Rewitched, to change the look of various different things in it. So upon activating this resource pack to change the appearance of things, it makes the Witch's Cauldron look a little bit different. The whiff of magic is a little more defined. The bubble in the center is a little bit smaller. I think the horns and the trees, yep, Breath of the Goddess has a different appearance. Oh, the knife is different. Same with the charge of tombstone. I don't like this tombstone nearly as much as the last one. Some of the plants in their harvested form look a little bit different. The poppets have a slight change to appearance. Same with the refined evil, that looks a little bit better. The waystones are a hole carved out of the center, okay. Oh, no, this plant has a slightly different texture now. It's more centralized. But either way, it's a fine looking mod. You can choose to have it look as you will if you want to slightly newer look or slightly older look, and just the different options. And that's about the extent of Witchery Rewitched. And as it stands for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video that I happen to make. So, stick around, stay tuned for that, or if it's already been made, well, you can watch that as well, because the past is always the past, and the future is always the future, and the present is right here and now. So until that time comes yet again, my friends, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, and as always, goodbye.